Wes, thank you so much for making time with me, man. As we are here in Toronto, we're at the Chorus Building. You just came off of doing a performance for what, the morning show?
Yeah. It'll be on the Global Morning Show. Yeah, I got it right. The morning. Can't see it, but there's literally a giant sign over there for a morning show. I call attention to it, but you're not going to see it. But that's what we just did.
How was it, man?
It was a lot of fun. I like doing that, and I love the guys I get to play with here today. We just played Best Hangover.
Yeah, hanging out in the back there, listening to you guys. You guys sound like you have a lot of fun together. Like, you guys are really a great unit together.
Yeah. I've spent my whole life playing in bands, traveling around, and it's like the memories that you end up with and the coolest parts are often the like little downtime bits where you're just hanging out with the guys, because it's like it becomes a family, like really does, and I love that.
It's country music is a family thing too,
Yeah.
especially in Canada. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody makes room for the new artists, and everybody celebrates everybody. I mean, when you think about what you've been doing in your career right now, man, like how many wins for CCMAs?
I think I got the one win. I got 10 nominations.
10 nominations, one win. I mean, that's stellar, man. I mean, did you ever think your career would reach to the point where it is today?
I don't know if I really ever thought too much, like early on, about where it was going to go. I just knew I wanted to do this. Like, and it's never really been a question of like how much success can I obtain. I like making music. I like directing videos. I like acting. I like being an artist. And so the success is more just it allows me to keep doing it and like to find new things to do. So that's the real joy of it, is I get to wake up in the morning and be like, I'm going to make some music today.
Yeah, but how do you make time? Because it's music videos you direct, you act, you write music, you record music, you perform music. How do you keep everything together on schedule and still be able to be wide awake and be able to perform for the morning show and doing this interview with me?
Wide awake is the one that suffers. I think I slept like 3 hours last night, and I edited together a lot of my stuff. Like the night before I flew out to Toronto, I was up till 6 editing. The balance is still something I'm working on, man. I don't know. Like, I'm sure you run into the same thing as well. Just like the entertainment business is nuts, and I want to try and get better at balancing, but I'm terrible at it, and I tend to just go with my impulses of like what I'm interested in.
How do you think, though, you as an entertainer has progressed from the days when you sat down and played your first guitar, trying to learn how to, learn how to play it, to what you're doing now, being a mainstream in Canadian country music or just in Canadian music in general?
I think some of it's almost cyclical in that the stuff I have tried to get back to on this album with Soul is trying to get back to what the first time picking up a guitar felt like, and making music that has no intended destination and not trying to like write hits or produce hits, just trying to make stuff that feels interesting and creatively satisfying. And I feel like that's been a journey to get back to that, because that's what, when you start off playing your first band, it's a total kid in a candy shop. You don't know what you're doing. It's just like you're there to make stuff. And I've tried to really get back to that. And that's like, to me, recording Soul has been the most fun album because that's what it was.
Let's get to that, because just the name Soul can mean so many different things. I know you just kind of mentioned a little bit, but I want to go a little bit deeper. Why the name Soul?
So it's based on the title track, which is also called Soul, which is the only song I've ever released commercially that I wrote alone. And it's the most personal song, and it ends up being, it's kind of about all the ups and downs and all the things in life that fill your soul up, and that's kind of the hook of the song. And that to me was like what this record was about, was finding the stuff in my life that I really love and want to hold on to, and all the stuff I want to leave behind. So once I had that song, that felt like kind of in line with what I felt the whole album was, and so it's the title track.
Where did you do most of the writing for this album, and where did you record?
It's a mixture, because this is over 3.5 years. Some of these tracks were written in Nashville. Like I'm a writer on all these. Some of them were written in Vancouver. Some were written in Toronto. Soul was written in my bedroom alone while I was having breakfast one morning last year. It was the last song I wrote that's on the record. And then the recording, also kind of all over, but most of it in Vancouver. I co-produced the record with my friend Jordan Orbeck.
What's the latest single out right now?
It's called Best Hangover, and it features Maddie Ziegler, who was a winner on CTV's The Launch.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's just rad.
When did you two meet? Because I love Maddie. Maddie has an incredible story, and the fact that she is doing what she's doing now, I mean, we follow each other on Instagram. I love what she's doing out there. How did you two meet, and why was she the right person for this?
So I have never met Maddie in person. I have talked to Maddie on the phone. I've Skyped with Maddie. I've gone back and forth with her on parts. The music video looks like we're in the same place, but just scheduling wise, didn't happen. I didn't know her prior to this, and when I was looking for a feature artist, this one was kind of a paint by like I just liked her vibe, both musically and like as an artist, and the kind of like X factor that, like, if you've met her, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Just sort of like that quirky personality that's not mainstream country. She's like rootsy and folky, and I was like, I feel like this is the thing that will like push this song over the edge. So we got in touch through some like mutual friends, and so I still, at some point in time, I'm gonna meet Maddie Storville.
Did you record? Who directed the video? Did you?
I directed the video, but the stuff that her pieces, there's a director named Travis Nesbitt, is a friend of mine.
Travis.
Yeah, so he shot the stuff in Edmonton. I didn't know him either. Dan Davidson's a good friend of mine, so I called him up. I called Dan. I'm like, who do you think I could get to shoot a video in Edmonton in one day? And he's like, well, you got to call Travis. I'm like, I was aware of him because I think we were both up for director of the year a couple of times, and so I called him. I'm like, Travis, you don't really know me. He's like, I know of you, and like we just chatted for like 2 hours. I'm like, I get a really good vibe for this guy. I'm like, here's kind of what I'm doing. I sent him some screenshots of what we'd already shot, and I'm like, I need you to kind of match this and shoot some of Maddie's stuff, and he pulled it off.
Okay, because when I'm thinking about this, you gambled on two people and came out with gold. Like, damn.
I like gambling like that, you know, because at the end of the day, it's like worst case scenario, if we get some bad footage or something like that. And I didn't think that was likely, in that like I love Travis's stuff, and so it's one of those things. I love bringing on artists who I think are really talented because they're going to do part of my job for me. Like it was the same when I brought Sons of Daughters on to Never Have I Ever on this record. It was like, cool, I love Jimmy and I love Crystal, and I know like Jimmy called me during the Super Bowl, and he's like, Wes, I've had a couple of beers. I got a really cool idea for the bridge of this song. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to lay it down and send it to you. And I'm like, great. I want to hear that. And so that's like the bridge of Never Have I Ever. His like little call and return part that he and Crystal sang. That's him like, I think a few beers was probably more than a few beers.
Oh, man.
It was like late in the Super Bowl. So, but he killed it.
Let's get back to the other song though. What's it about?
Best Hangover. You know, it was a really cool write. I wrote it down with Gordy Sampson, a guy named Brent Anderson. Gordy's written like a million number one hits. Like that guy's, he wrote Jesus Take the Wheel. But it was Brent. This is a song that like, I didn't come in with some idea on this. I think it's really important when you get it with other writers that like, you as the artist, sometimes you got to take your hands a little off the wheel. And it's like Brent came in and he had lived this song the night before. Like everything that happened, and this was just coming out of him. So I'm like, cool, we're not going to fight this. That's not what I would have necessarily written coming in that day, but I'm like, I know I've lived this as well. So it was really cool to hear him, like, it literally, all the events of his night before are kind of playing out in the song, and it was just me and Gordy sitting there, like, kind of being the filters for it. And I don't know, I felt lucky to be in the room, because he was clearly, like, tapped into something and really inspired, and I'm like, all right, I'm on for the ride.
Love it, man. What's going to happen tour-wise now that you got an album out?
There'll be a bunch of dates probably over the next summer, but I don't have anything that I can announce currently without getting slapped upside the head. But yeah, I'll be doing that, and I've got another acting piece that's coming out next year, and I actually have started work on album 3 already because I have hands all over the place. So I actually, you know, there's no rest. No rest for the wicked, right?
Busy man. Speaking of wicked, as we speak, we're about, what, a week or 6 days away from Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
What was your favorite Halloween costume growing up?
My favorite Halloween costume growing up, it's all flashing before I was a VR trooper one time. I was a giant chicken. I was Zorro a number of times.
Wait, how do you go from Zorro to a giant chicken or vice versa?
I don't know, man. The giant chicken costume was legendary because I played in like a punk band at the time, and once I was done with it, one of my friends just stole it, and he would frequently come on stage with us, and it was just kind of like a fixture of the show. And I look back on photos of it now, I'm like, that didn't make any sense. And for people just seeing us, he would just be there, and there was never an explanation for it.
Genesis did it.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. So that's a good precedent. That's a good precedent.
Social media is the place to go, man, to follow you. So knowing what's going to happen with you in 2020, where do we go?
At Wes Mack Music and wesmackmusic.com. It's at Wes Mack Music on all social media. You'll be able to find me.
Hey, man, look, thank you so much for doing the interview with me. And congrats, man. Looking forward to everything you're doing in the next year.
Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure.